Hi, everyone. My name's Arno. I'm the Education Coordinator here at the BGC, and I'm going to introduce you to a very special guest, my mom. Mom, if you don't mind introducing yourself.
My name is Patricia Lortie, and I am a visual artist and Arno's mom.
Awesome. So you already touched on this, but what specifically do you do for a living? Because I think the term visual artist is a bit of a broad term. What do you do?
Yeah, it is. So visual artist basically includes any form of art that is appreciated visually. So I am a painter, a sculptor. I do community art projects as well, and I do public art projects, and I am an art instructor.
Awesome. Why did you originally get into this career?
Well, I kind of always wanted to be an artist. When I was a kid, I was always drawing and making things with my hands. But back then it was just instinctual. I didn't think of it as a job. And then I got told by everybody that you could make a living as an artist. So I went and got a degree in business administration and had what my kids call a real job for about 5 years. And then when my first son Arno was born, I just didn't want to go back to it. So that's when I decided, okay, I'm making the jump. I'm going to be an artist.
Awesome. And what does the day-to-day look like for you?
The day-to-day, sorry, the cat's pestering me. The day-to-day is pretty busy. It's really a question of balancing multiple projects. When you're an artist, it's never clear cut. You're never only dealing with one thing. You're always dealing with multiple things. So I have to organize each of my days in, okay, what do I need to get done today? What do I want to move forward today? And in what order am I going to do that? So in the morning when my mind is fresh, I like to get all my computer and administrative work out of the way. Because I don't really like it. So I want it done. And then also because I'm alert, so I can answer emails properly. So I get that done between 7 and 9. Then I go for a dog walk, and after that it's studio work. So painting, sculpting, whatever I'm working on. And on a typical normal year, I would finish my day with teaching kids after school. That's not happening right now because of COVID, but that would be the end of my day. And that gets me till about 6:30. So I work about 12 hours a day in general, but it's very flexible. So that's one of the benefits. If I decide that grocery shopping is practical for me at 10 on Tuesday, then that's what I do. And I make up those hours in the weekend.
Absolutely. And you already talked about this a little bit. What type of training or schooling did you sort of take part in order to be successful as an artist?
Funnily enough, my business administration degree is helpful because being an artist is running a business. You're running your own business, and you're most of the time your only employee. And I also did 2 years in industrial design in Montreal, which has really seeped into my work in terms of leaning towards design work. And I did 1 year when I was having my babies. I did the foundation year at the Alberta College of Art and Design. And after 1 year of doing that, I felt like I had the tools I needed, and I just went on to working as an artist.
So you don't necessarily need a degree in
No.
fine arts in order to pursue a career as an artist.
So no, you don't. From what I've seen around me and artists that are successful, it makes absolutely no difference. The schooling is there if it really, what it does is it sort of awakes your mind to what's possible, and also where you might fit into the art world, because that's the part. It takes really long to understand the ecosystem of what's possible for an artist, and where can you show your work, and what kind of partners you can work with. And so school helps you weed through that a bit faster. But in terms of the work itself, you got to grow as an artist, and the only way to grow as an artist is to put in the time to be an artist. So schooling doesn't really make a difference.
Absolutely. So that ties a little bit into my next point here, which was my original question is, how does someone get a job in the field? However, I realize that you are self-employed, right? And so I think a better question, instead of how would you get a job in the field, is how would you get started at making a living in the field, right?
Yeah.
How does someone make enough money to survive in the field of being an artist?
And you're touching on one of the challenges I'm going to bring up later. Um,
Absolutely.
but I'll stick with this question. It's getting started as an artist is really scary because you don't know where your money is going to come from. So you have to take it one step at a time. And really, it's a question of building up your reputation and building up, you start with your community and then you enlarge a little bit. Now with social media, it's nice because you can do that. When I started, there was no social media. So you really relied on your own community to support you as an artist. Now, at least you can rely on almost the whole world, which is pretty cool. So it's, you have to decide what is the immediate step you can take, what it is you want to do right now, and how can you promote that specific part of your products or of what you want to do. So of course, I know most of the artists I know will have a part-time job just to give them financial security. And that gives you a break and allows you to sort of developing your own market. So it's like starting a business. You need to get your foundation established and your reputation going and build a following so that you can actually sell your work. That being said, selling work is not the only way to make a living. There's lots of artists that end up doing community work. So art engagement projects, which you can work with community groups to develop art projects with them that speak of their issues and their concerns. So I've done that with schools, I've done that with art centers, I've done that with elders center. There's many, many ways to do this. And that's a really nice way to stay an artist, but also have a job, even if it's temporary.
Absolutely.
But you're right. You're also, as an artist, you're self-employed. So you have to be aware of, that you need to be on top of it and you need to be aggressive in terms of looking for source of incomes.
And so it's a combination almost of, from what I'm hearing, it's a combination of almost like networking, making sure you are making connections out in your community, as well as applying to grants and stuff like that to sort of help support you and help kind of move your career forward.
Yes, but you cannot rely on grants. They're really hard to get. They are usually given to artists that have a proven record of accomplishing something and that have the photos to show it and the resume to show it. So as a beginning artist, if you think you're going to finance your start with grants, forget about it. It's not going to happen. So you need to find a way to finance it yourself, basically.
That part-time job to help support you at the beginning is important.
I think it's very important. Yeah. And it will give you the peace of mind to be creative. It's, I know a lot of artists, so I've heard all the stories and I've heard some of them saying after 20 years of painting rabbits or, birds or that they just can't stand it anymore, but they have to keep doing it because that's what sells. So it's kind of, when you get yourself into a really tight niche and you need that money through the sales of your work, you can feel like you're not moving forward anymore. So for me, having a steady base income that allows me to make any changes I want in terms of what I'm working on, that was very important. So I can remain creative.
And I think that ties in very well to what challenges are faced as an artist.
Yeah. Okay, so challenges number one, money. And let's be real about this. It's hard to make a living as an artist. It's really hard to make a living selling your artwork. And you can have good galleries, they do good work, they sell your work, but then you're 10 years into it and you want to shift. You don't want to paint what you were painting anymore. And all of a sudden they dump you. And it happens over and over. So that's a real balancing act. Like, how is it you want to express yourself and how are you going to find the money? So the uncertainty of the paycheck, even successful artists will have 10, 15 good years and then they might wean out, or they'll have 5 good years and then 5 really bad years, and then it goes back to good. So there's a real worry about the stability of the income. The other worry is there's no pension plan and there's no health benefits. So you got to think about that. You know, what are you going to do? Like one day you're going to be 80, and do you want to be starving? So whatever you do, you got to make sure that in your process, like in how you establish your career, those things are considered. It's doable. I'm not saying it's not doable. I'm just saying be real about it.
So having a real business sense while also maintaining this creative career.
Yes. And, you know, I know there's some artists that do amazingly well and they make hundreds of thousands of dollars, but that is the exception. The majority of us are making a living, a normal, regular living like everybody else. So you have to be okay with that and kind of let go of why are you being an artist? Are you being an artist because you want fame? Or are you being an artist because you have the urge to create? Fame's not really worth it. The urge to create needs to be fed. So that's a more solid base to lean on, from my perspective. Yeah. The other thing, so one of the other issues with the money is that it can really contaminate your creative process. So if you rely on your work to make your income, every decision you make in your creative process is going to be contaminated by that need. So establishing yourself a sideline or a way to finance your art practice will free your mind. And that's when you do your best work as an artist, is when your mind is free to really go where it needs to go and express what needs to be expressed. If there's anything romantic about being an artist, that's that part of it. It's that ability to dig deep inside yourself and use that as juice for your creativity. That's the best part of being an artist. So other issues I think that people might have is because you're self-employed, that motivation comes from you. So every day you got to get up and put in your hours. Every day you got to think about what you're doing with your time. And you have to be willing to jump on new things. In my career, I've had so many opportunities that were thrown at me that I was not ready for, that I did not see coming, that I could not envision how they were going to unfold, but they're there. So you take them. So you have to kind of be willing to do that, and be disciplined. You have to be, this is not a relaxing job. You have to be disciplined. It's relaxing when you're creating, but the whole keeping on top of running your business, it can be more scary than just showing up to work every day.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I think that's very good insight on some of the challenges that might be faced. Do you have any advice or tips for youth who are interested in becoming an artist?
Yes. So when I was beginning my career, I met a dear friend of mine who's an artist in her late 80s now. And she told me the first thing you got to do is get a stable source of income. So I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm going to insist on this. You cannot start an artist career without a stable source of income. So what I did is I established my studio school at home. So every day after school, I teach 6 kids for 2 hours. So I teach about 12 hours a week, and that's my financial foundation. And that has been a miracle for me. It's done so much to keep me active and engaged in my community. Like, I went into that for the money. And what I realized after is that the bigger benefit was that I became a huge part of my community. So that would be my first advice. Second thing, it's scary. Making the jump to become an artist is like flying without a net. Like, there's nobody that will trace that roadmap for you. So you're going to be scared, but that's okay. I was really scared. When I quit my job and I decided I was going to be an artist full time, I did not see it coming. I just went for it. I started having panic attacks, and I was having them every day for about 6 months. So you will feel unsettled, scared, but just plow through it. Like, do the work, give yourself, if you have to, make yourself a calendar and stick with it, do it. So get yourself organized, stick with it, and just, the fear is not going to kill you. So just plow through it. And don't make excuses. That would be my third advice. Don't make excuses. I hear so many people say, oh, I would love to paint, but I don't have a studio. Well, you have a kitchen table, or I'd love to paint, but I don't have any money. Well, dig cardboard out of the recycling and paint on that. Like, seriously, if you want to be an artist, do it. Stop making excuses. I'm scared. Well, everybody's scared. And I think one of the advice that I got, it was from my husband's grandmother, and I was in my late 20s, and she was asking me, what would you really want to do? And I said, well, I want to be an artist. And she said, well, when are you going to wake up 40? So do you want to wake up 40 and be an artist? Or do you want to wake up 40 and wish you were an artist? And that was huge for me. That was like, oh my God, she's completely right. I have to do this. That's my last advice.
Totally. So it sounds like, despite being a demanding career, if you put in the work and push through some of the scariness, it can be absolutely worth it and very satisfying creatively. Yeah.
It's immensely satisfying, and I think it's completely worth it. But I would say some people have this dreamy idea that as an artist, you can hide in your studio and just do your work and that's it. It's going to magically come together. That's not true. A big part of being an artist and making a living at it is having your feet in your community. You need to be connected to the world in order to make a living as an artist.
Mm-hmm. So this was really great. Thank you so much. If youth were interested in seeing any of your work, we can see some of it behind you here. But if they wanted to sort of see a catalog of your work, where could they do so?
I'm a little bit everywhere. I have my own website, which is Patricia Lortie, that's LORTIE.com. I'm on Facebook, Patricia Lortie Art, and I'm on Instagram, patricia.lortie.art.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for your time. I really appreciate this. If any youth have any questions I guess I'll call you Patricia here. If any youth have any questions for Patricia, then you can submit them on our website. Or if we have like an overwhelming amount of questions, then we can always book a separate Zoom session where you can ask her. Otherwise, I'd like to remind you that we're posting videos throughout the week, so stay tuned. There's going to be lots of good stuff going up. Thanks again.
My pleasure.